There we go. How is everyone? I'm so glad you're here today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Coach Tim. I'm one of the coaches here at Peace and Parenting. I work alongside Michelle and our team. I have four kids of my own. They're mostly grown. I got to think about the year and the dates they were born. They're 25, 23, 20, and 17, almost 18. So I've got a little bit of experience with this, long enough, I will say, to have made every mistake that we're going to talk about today, and definitely more than once. If you are watching on the YouTube or Facebook live stream today, welcome. We're glad you're here with us. Unfortunately, we cannot monitor those live chats, but so today's live chat will be uh, here on the Zoom call. Before we get started, could you do one thing for me? And real quick in the chat, drop where you're calling from and the ages of your kids. And maybe is it morning, afternoon, late evening for you? Just so we know where people are calling from. So if you drop in the chat the how many kids you got and their ages, that'd be great. Love to get to know everybody that's in here. Sita's in Ireland, early evening at work. Awesome. Three kids, 8, 6, and 4. Robin's in Northern California, two kids, 5 and 4. Ashton, two boys, 10 and 20. Okay. Florida, you're middle of the afternoon, I believe, right? Same as me. Shannon, two kiddos, 4 and 9, Central Illinois. Good. Well, it's good to have you here with us. I think I see a couple of familiar faces in here too. Welcome back. And to the new people, welcome. So if you're up late or early, or Zeta's in the early evening, uh, thank you. Thank you for coming today. Here's what I want you to know before we begin today. If you showed up today to learn how to parent differently than you were parented, let me just say you are already doing something that the people who raised you didn't do. You're stopping to look at this parenting journey on purpose, and that matters. That makes a huge difference for your kids. Hold on to that thought and remember this as we go along today, okay? So let me say something out loud, the thing that probably, I'm guessing, brought many of you here today. This is what brought me to Peace and Parenting. You swore you'd never parent like your parents did. And then you found yourself doing the exact same thing. Yeah. You'd said you'd never yell, and you yelled. You said you'd never use that tone, and you used that tone. You said your kid would never feel the way you felt while you were growing up, and then they looked just like you did at their age. If that's landing for you, you're in the right place. Drop a quick yes in the chat if you have ever, even just once, when you became a parent. No judgment here, because I've certainly done that. I'm sure we've all done that. Yeah, Shannon, I know I've done that on more than once. Thank you, Allison. Yes, it's hard, isn't it? Thank you for being honest. I know that's a painful thing and a hard thing to do when we're discussing our own childhood and our own children. But I suspect most of us have done that. So here's the thing. Most of the content out there about breaking the cycle treats this like a willpower problem. Like if you just read enough good books, if you listen to enough podcasts, if you do enough therapy, sit with enough self-awareness, you'll stop being the parent that you didn't want to be. But you've done that. A lot of you in this room have done that. You've read the books, you're regulating better than your parents ever did, and you're showing up in ways nobody modeled for you, and yet it still happens. I want to give you a new frame today. This is not about a willpower problem. I believe it's a blueprint problem. And here's the question we're going to answer today. How do you become the kind of parent you've never seen? Because I think that's the actual problem. It's not the yelling, not the shutdown, not the sharp tone. The problem underneath of it all is that you're trying to build something you don't have a model for, and nobody handed you the instructions because nobody had them to hand. That's what we're going to talk about today. This is something that we really focus on in our one-on-one coaching. What it actually takes, what gets in the way, and what to do the next time you feel the pattern rising up in your chest before those words come out of your mouth. I want to tell you about a moment from my own home, my own story. Because if I'm going to ask you to sit with something hard today, I have to be willing to sit with it first. And before I do that, I'm going to do a little technical advice. The team is telling me my mic moved. Is that better, Andrea? If I move here?
No, I think it's the same.
Is this better?
No.
Okay. Let me switch mics.
I think that's better. Wait.
That's better?
No.
Okay. I'm going to switch mics. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, but it would be better if you do a little louder, maybe.
Okay. Apologies, folks. My microphone was, if I move that up, is that better?
That's better. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
Little technical difficulties today with this week. My microphone was going crazy, my better microphone, but we'll work with this. So here's what I had to sit with. Long story short, we were in the middle of a major remodel project at our house. My son was 17 and he was helping me turn the plumbing on. I'd run some new copper lines, soldered several joints together in both the bathroom and the kitchen. And I tell you what, I was so nervous. Soldering copper joints has always made me nervous that I'm not doing it right. And I was scared, of course, and I was afraid there would be a leak somewhere. So I showed my son the main valve for the house, how to turn it on, how to turn it off, and explained I was going to listen around the house for leaks, and I would holler if I needed him to turn it off. Foolproof plan, right? Ready? Okay, my heart's racing. Get set. I have to do this. Let's knock on wood and cross my fingers. Go. So I'm listening at all the places for a leak. And mind you, the kitchen and the bathroom at opposite ends of the house. And I'm all nerves. So my son runs to me and says, "Dad, there's a leak at the valve." And of course, my response, "What? You've got to turn it off. I showed you how to turn it off." And we run to the valve. Guess what? He'd already turned it off. If I could explain to you how small I felt, so ashamed, it still makes me feel that today. I wanted to cry. I'd done it again. I didn't know what to say. Should I say something? How do I apologize? Then I started justifying it. I hadn't really yelled at him, had I? Maybe in the rush of things, he hadn't really noticed. What should I do? I'm telling you this story not because it's a clean story. It's not a clean story. I'm still figuring this out. And my kids are grown, and I'm still catching all of the pieces of the pattern moving through me. I'm telling you because the moment I realized whose voice was coming out of my mouth was the moment I stopped trying to white knuckle my way out of it and started doing something different. Here's what I want you to grasp today. Becoming a cycle breaker is not the absence of the pattern. It's the moment you recognize the pattern faster than it can recognize you. Michelle has a line that I love to quote when she says in her book, Unpunished, when we don't know what to do, we do what we know. Let me repeat that one more time. When we don't know what to do, we tend to default and do what we know. That one sentence explains almost everything about why this is so hard. Your nervous system is not a blank page. By the time you become a parent, you had already been parented for 18, 20, and maybe longer, 30 years. Your body learned what a parent sounds like, what a parent does when a kid won't listen, what a parent does when they're tired and overwhelmed and embarrassed, maybe in public, what a parent does at bedtime when the patience is gone. You learned all of that before you could even put a sentence together, before you had the language to question, before you knew there was anything to question. So when you became a parent, when your kid screams in the grocery store, when they slam the door, when they say something disrespectful at the dinner table, or when they do something you don't agree with, your body reaches for the most available script. And the most available script is the one that was written into you when you were 5. This is why awareness alone is not enough. You know this. A lot of you here have done years of therapy. You've untangled that story. You've grieved your childhood. And you can articulate exactly what your parents did wrong, why they did it, and what you would have needed instead. Then it's 6:15 on a Wednesday afternoon. Your kid won't put his shoes on for the 4th time, and your mouth opens, and out comes that sentence you didn't choose. This is why it's harder than anyone tells us when we become parents. That pattern is instinctive. It runs faster than our prefrontal cortex can respond. The pattern is encoded deeply. It lives in our body, not just our beliefs. And that pattern is loyal. It shows up to protect us the way it protected the people who raised us, even when we don't want it to. None of that is a character problem. It's a nervous problem. It's a nervous system that learned to do what to do under pressure before you had any say in the matter, which means, and I want you to hear this, the work of breaking the cycle is not about being a better person. It's about giving your nervous system a new script, one it has never run before. So I'll do this quickly. I want to share 3 books in case you want to go deeper after this call. So these 3 authors, Daniel Siegel, his book, Developing the Mind, calls this implicit memory. The body stores the relational pattern long before the mind can describe it. When you get triggered by your child, you are not overreacting, you are reliving. The second book, author Lindsay Gibson, a great book here, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, names what most of you in this room have already named for yourself. When emotional needs aren't met in childhood, the child becomes the manager of the parent. And that managing instinct doesn't disappear when you grow up. It just changes shape. And thirdly, the book When the Body Says No, written by Gabor Mate, has been pointing at this for 30 years. The cost of suppressing what we felt as children shows up in the body, in the marriage, and in the way we parent the children that we love the most. So I think this is the line that pulls all three of these thoughts together. Your child is not the problem. Your child is just the trigger. The thing that your child does is activating something much older than they are. Remember this, hang on to this. You are not reacting to your child. You are reacting to the version of yourself that your child reminds you of. That one reframe alone, that one sentence, is the difference between a parent who keeps spinning out and a parent who starts to see what's actually happening in the room. So before we move on here in today's, I want to leave you today with 5 things that kind of show up in our parenting. And then we'll look at how to reframe these things. These are 5 ways that we've inherited, 5 patterns that we've inherited that show up in real life. This isn't theory. These 5 places, if you watch yourself this week, I think you'll catch yourself when it's happening. Some of these will land hard. I know when it lands hard on me, it's tough. It's okay, though. This is part of the work. We're not here to feel good. We're here to see this clearly. So number 1, the reactive snap. Something switches on faster than we can even stop it. Your kid does that thing, right? The eye roll, the back talk, the meltdown. And before your prefrontal cortex even shows up to the meeting, you've already said the sentence. I know I've done this many times. I did this with my son, right? At the plumbing valve. That reaction is older than the moment. Number 2, the cold withdrawal. You don't yell, you just go quiet. You give them the back of your shoulder. Make them feel the temperature drop in the room. If you grew up with a parent who punished you with distance, this is the pattern your body learned. Silence is not regulation. Silence is a punishment in another costume. The third one, restaging. Your child does something small, age appropriate, normal, and your body reacts like you are still the child in your own kitchen at age 7. The fight you're having is not with the kid in front of you. It's with someone who is not in the room anymore. And your child has no idea why their thing got such a big reaction. And then there's the performance demand. You need them to behave. You're in public, right? Or at the dinner table in front of your family. Because their behavior is going to prove something about you. That you're not the parent your parents were. That you broke the cycle, that you're doing it right. And your child can feel that pressure. They don't have the language for it, but they can feel it, and it costs them. And then number 5, the inheritance phrase. There's a sentence in your house that came directly out of your own childhood. Maybe it was because I said so, or you should know better, or I'm so disappointed in you. Don't make me say it again. Or maybe it's after everything I did for you. You didn't choose those sentences. They were given to you. And every time you say one, you can feel somewhere that didn't originate with you. If 3 or 4 of those just landed harder than you wanted them to, that's not failure. That's just data. That's you finally seeing the pattern with the lights on. If any of that landed in the way that you don't want to sit with alone, that's exactly what our one-on-one coaching is for. Drop the word support in the chat right now, and our team will reach out to you today. No pressure, no pitch, just having a conversation about what is actually happening in your home and whether this our one-on-one coaching could help you and be the next right step for you. So we'll keep going. I just wanted you to have that opportunity if you needed it. So here's 3 practices that we can use to interrupt the pattern. And as you're reading these, I want you to think of just one that you can do this week. We don't need to do everything all at once, just one. We know that awareness alone is not enough. We can't read our way out of it. So the question remains, what actually works? These 3 practices are what we practice here at Peace and Parenting. They're what I have used in my own life and at our own house, and what I use with families that I coach. They aren't complicated. They are hard, but hard in the way that most important things are hard, in that you have to do them when you don't feel like it. The first one is the why question. When that hard struggle moment hits, when you feel the heat coming up in your chest, pause and ask yourself one word. Why? Why am I this angry? Why am I feeling this way? What is it? And where is it actually coming from? Michelle writes, almost every time it comes back to something that has nothing to do with the child in front of you. You're not reacting to what your kid just did. You are reacting to something much older. The second question is, whose voice? Right after the reaction, even if you didn't catch it in time, ask yourself, whose voice was that? Who did that sentence belong to before it belonged to me? You are not doing this to assign blame. You are doing it to put a name on the pattern. Because once a pattern has a name, your nervous system can start to recognize it before it runs the next time. And then the child you question, or the little you. I think this is the hardest one. Think about what you needed in a moment, just like the one that you just had. When you were that age that your child is now, what would have helped you when you were that age? What did you not get at that time? And then the next time that moment shows up, try to give your child the thing that you didn't get. I'm not talking about perfection here. And we're not trying to get you to do this every time. We're trying to grow 1 degree closer and closer than what you received. So here's the whole practice in one line. Reparenting yourself is not a side project. I believe it is the parenting work. This is the part of the work that nobody told you were signing up for when you became a parent. You thought you were raising a kid. It turns out you're also reparenting the part of yourself that didn't get what it needed. We have to do both jobs at the same time with no training. That's why this is so exhausting and why doing it with support changes everything. So let me ask you this. Which of these 3 questions is the hardest for you right now? Is it A, the why question, slowing down enough to ask it in the moment? B, whose voice question, naming whose pattern is moving through me? Or the child you question, letter C, giving my child what I didn't get? Joy, yes. Whose voice? Lindsay, the third one. Shannon, C. Yeah. Yeah. These are tough. An iPhone user says, whose voice question? B, letter B. These are hard. And there's a reason. We'll talk about this. So between now and next week, here's a solid thing that we can do. 5 small steps. These are small steps. They are specific and they're doable in the middle of a regular week. We're not talking about taking a sabbatical. And remember, again, if you need support with these, just type the word support in the chat and our team will reach out to let you know how we can help so that you don't have to do these alone. Number one, catch just one moment this week. You only need to catch one. Not all of them, just one. The next time you feel the old pattern rising, that heat in your chest, that sentence forming, that urge to snap or go cold, pause for just 3 seconds. That's it, 3 seconds. Don't try to be perfect, just notice. Number two, name the pattern. Name it out loud to yourself. Whether you're in the car or at home, the dinner table, or in the grocery store, after that moment is over, name it. That was the snap, or that was the cold withdrawal. That was the inheritance phrase. Name it the way you'd name a weather pattern. No shame, just naming. Naming it is the first thing that loosens the pattern's grip on your body. Number three, ask one of the three questions. Pick whichever one feels least impossible. We reviewed those earlier, right? Whose voice? The why question or the child you question? You can also ask yourself, what did I need at their age? Just ask one of those questions. You're not solving anything. We're just collecting information at this time. Number four is important. Repair with your child. If that moment got away and got messy, and it will, repair. Hey, man, earlier when I said that wasn't really about you, and I'm sorry. It's something I'm working on, and you don't have to fix it for me. Your child doesn't need a perfect parent. They just need a parent who comes back. And then write it down, number five. You can write it one sentence in your phone or in a journal. Write down what that trigger was, what you noticed, and what you would do differently next time. This week, you can just build a record of yourself. And that record is what changes the pattern over months. Not the perfection of any single moment. Here at Peace and Parenting, we're all working toward connection, not perfection. Here's some resources that you can keep going through this week. These are 3 resources I'd start with, and pick just one for now. We're not trying to get you to choose all 3, but resource number 1 is a journal prompts PDF. Michelle's put together a journal prompts named Healing Ourselves Through Journaling. This is put together specifically for the inner work that this training points to. And the questions aren't abstract, they are very precise. They'll help you recognize those patterns. And our team is going to drop a link for this journal prompt in the chat, in the Zoom chat right now. Resource number 2 is Michelle's podcast. There's an episode. The podcast is named Peace and Parenting Podcast. The episode is called How Your Emotional Baggage is Hurting Your Kids. So that podcast is the audio version of what we covered today. Listen on a walk. It's 40 minutes, and it will sit with you for a lot longer than that. And then resource number 3 is Michelle's book, Unpunished. It's the long form version of everything we've touched on today. It's a very honest and vulnerable, specific guide to what she's gone through and what she's encouraging us through this work at Peace and Parenting. It's got a lot of her family stories, and I wish I had time to share a lot of these, but you can get her book at unpunishedbook.com. So pick just one of these 3 resources this week and start there. I would encourage you, do not try to do all 3 this week. There's time. There's time. So, what cycle breaking actually can look like. And I want to give you some encouragement now. This has been heavy. I know it was heavy for me as I prepared this today, and I want to give some encouragement. I want to tell you about a mom that I worked with. I'll call her Rachel. She had two kids. She still has two kids, a son and a daughter, and she's a single mom. Rachel came to her first coaching call and said, Tim, I'm exactly that mother that I promised I would never be. My mother used to snap at me. And last week, when my son was really antagonizing his sister, I responded the same way my mother did. I snapped. I didn't mean to, but I'll be honest, it just happened. She'd done therapy. She knew exactly what her mother had done to her, and she was still happy. It was still happening with her own son. So we did the work together. It was slow, imperfect, some messy, rough bumps. It's not the way that parenting books make it look, but we started with one practice, just the why question, 3 seconds of a pause when she felt that cold coming. Not all the time, just once or twice a week. And in 3 months, after succeeding and failing, she sent me this message. She said, my son said something to his sister, and I recognized those triggers coming up inside. And I didn't snap. I took a breather and was able to listen to both the kids. And she continues, the best part is my relationship with my daughter is getting better, and my son has slowed down his antagonism toward his sister. So that's what breaking the cycle actually looks like. It's not a transformation. It's not a finish line. One moment where your kid kept talking, or maybe they threw a fit or got into an argument with their sibling, you were able to stop and listen, or you worked through it and you just had a calm moment. And then another and another. And then we have a child, another child who grows up assuming that the people who love them stay with them through all of their humanity. What you're doing is not just breaking the cycle for your child, you're also breaking it for their children. So I want to be clear about something before we close, because I appreciate your presence and your patience and your attention. And we've earned this directness. Peace in Parenting here offers one-on-one coaching. That's the work that we do every week. Whether you work with Michelle or with me or with the rest of our coaching team, this isn't a course. It's not a group program. It's a one-on-one coach working with one parent or two co-parents for an extended period of time. And we're working on the actual shape of what is hard in your house. I can give you a unique perspective because I was on your side of this room only a few years ago. I was a parent who wanted to work on my relationship with my children. I was scared of how things would look in 10 years if I didn't change things. And it still makes me emotional thinking of that. I also attended calls like these until one day I decided to take the leap and go further. Peace and Parenting changed my life and viewpoint, changed everything. I will say at that time, my relationships looked bleak. I did not think that today I'd have the opportunities that I do with my kids. I never thought that my kids would ask to hang out with me or tell me about their problems, their life, or their concerns, or just say, hey, you want to watch the game or play pool with me? I believed that reaching that level of trust with them was never going to happen for me. And now I'm feeling it. And it's still growing. It's still a journey. For most families that I work with, this looks like a series of private one-hour sessions over 12 weeks, plus ongoing support between the sessions over email or message, so that when something happens, you're not waiting until your next call to figure it out. You can message me or you're one of our coaches. We're walking through it together in real time. It's the right fit for parents who've already done a lot of the reading and have started the path of their own inner work. And you're ready for someone to look at your specific family, at their specific kid or their specific childhood, and help them put the pieces together. This works for parents who have children of all ages. My kids were in their teens, and one was in their 20s when I started. And we have clients who have young children as well. Now, this isn't for everybody, and it's not the cheapest path, but the first step to finding out is a quick chat, a real conversation about your family. You and a coach will figure out together whether this is the right next step. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't, and that's okay. But either way, you'll leave the call clearer than about what you actually need and how you can move forward. If this sounds like you, type the word in support in the chat right now. Here's my challenge for you between now and next week when we do this again. Pick one thing from this training and try it. Pick just one. And can we solidify that choice by writing it in the chat? What one thing do you want to work on this week? Catch a moment. Number one. Number two, name that pattern out loud. Number three, ask one of three questions. Number four, repair with your child after a hard moment. Or number five, write one sentence down on your phone or journal. What one thing do you want to do this week? And may I say, give yourself grace. Choose just one. Notice there's not an all of the above choice. We're not trying to hammer everything into you all in 1 week here. We want to support. Araminta says A and D. We'll give you two choices there, Araminta. That's okay. We're not trying to overhaul your parenting just this week. Joy says B and C. We're not trying to be a new person by Sunday, right? But that one thing or two things that you picked, do it imperfectly, and then do it again, and do it again, and practice this. To wrap this up today, your child does not need a perfect parent. They just need a parent who's willing to catch themselves, a parent who's willing to name the pattern, to repair when it goes sideways, and to keep coming back. So here's my final thought for you today. You are not the parent who failed to break the cycle. You are the parent who is breaking it. And your kids will know long after today, long after this morning, that you were the one who chose differently. So remember back at the beginning of this call today, I asked you to hold on to something. You are already doing something that the people who raised you didn't do. You're here. You took the time to look at this parenting journey on purpose. And that, I will tell you, does matter. It does matter for you and for your kids. And may I encourage you personally that you are a good parent. For the sake of your children, thank you for taking the time today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making a different choice. Again, if you want to help doing this work in the future, type support in the chat. And I do want to open up this space for questions. If you have questions, you can raise your hand. If your camera's on, I'll see you waving at me, or you can raise your little Zoom hand and we can call on you. Lindsay, I do see you have a question here. Are you or Michelle experienced with working with neurodivergent children and families? Yes, Michelle has experience with working with several neurodivergent clients. And Cami has one of our other coaches has her own experience with neurodivergence in her family. And I believe there's some clients here today that have some neurodivergence in their families that maybe if they want to talk about that. thank you all. I know some of you may have to jump quickly, but if you have questions or want to ask a question, feel free to drop that in the chat or raise your hand here.
Thank you, Tim. I just wanted to say that this topic is probably the most difficult topic of all of the parenting topics.
Yeah.
Because stuff just comes out before you even recognize that you're upset, or for me. And being neurodivergent and having a neurodivergent child, it's just a double whammy. So
You've been in this
really
community for a while, Araminta. How is that? How's that helped you?
changed
What's your experience? What's your
changed my
experience?
life. Changed my life. 3 years ago when I met Michelle, I couldn't even make an appointment with her because my child was like so upset he wouldn't let me get on the call. I couldn't talk to another adult. And now, and he'd had school refusal. He was around all the time. Now he just went to school. He tied his own shoelaces. I mean, the list is long. It's just an incredible transformation. And it's still hard every single day. I'm still working on it. And this this part right here that you just gave us is essential and it's going to be really hard. I'm going to work on it. Keep working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I still work on daily myself as well. Yeah. Any other, whether it's this topic or parenting, general parenting questions? And yes, Joy, if you're still on here, we do these every week, every Thursday at the same time on Zoom. If you want to, if you don't already have your email with the team, you want to send us your email, we can make sure you're on the invite list. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm glad you were able to join. Yeah, it's so important that we do our own healing, our own childhood wounds, isn't it? That's tough to bring up, to actually like look at those wounds in myself.
Hey, Tim, do you want to just remind us that it's not too late to start?
This
Sometimes I think,
parenting journey?
gosh, yeah, like sometimes I think if, I've failed already and my kid's 11 and it's still such a struggle. And if I had just known this when he was born.
Hmm. That's a great that's a great topic, Araminta. I struggle with that myself often. I started when my children were, as I said, already in their teens, and one was in his 20s. And man, I wish I would have known this right when my oldest was born. Um, I will say, of course, we cannot control what our children do and how they respond. But I know this, if I hadn't done the work, my children wouldn't be reaching out to me even in the small ways that they do. Like I said, uh, one of my kiddos was like, yeah, I could do pool with you for, in the middle of the afternoon. Or one kiddo said, hey, you want to watch the game tonight? Um, you know, I know for a fact that my own emotions, my own capacity, um, my own nerves would not be as calm and as feeling and recognizing the rewards of those little things if I hadn't done this work. And I know my kids recognize it. I know they see it. They don't say so much, but when my when my youngest feels safe enough to break down, I asked her, about some things that I've done that she wishes I would have done differently. And she broke down in tears, and I said, "You don't have to tell me right now if you don't feel up to it." She's like, she needed to get it out in a public coffee shop for an hour and a half. And I was able to sit there calmly and listen. I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but had I not done this work, I would not have been ready to hear that. Belina says, I know it's a trigger for me, but now, even though they are young, they react the same way as me screaming. Yes. It's hard. I will also say, Araminta, to your question, I look back with some great guilt and remorse that I didn't hear my kids as well, but I know now. I look at myself going, I'm 50 years old. I'd rather start now and have 25 years to go when my oldest is 50 than wait until he's 50 and start then. Michelle joined us. Yay. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, just saying hi. Just
Just
poking
popping in.
around. Yeah,
Thank you. We had fun.
great.
I don't think we have any more questions here. Andrea, did you see any questions that I missed in the chat?
No, the last one is Belina's.
Okay. Yes, I just read that one. So thank you all for coming. I do want to say we do this at the same time every Thursday here on Zoom. Next week, Michelle will be bringing the topic, and I haven't even looked ahead to see what that topic is.
I don't know. I think Maria could tell us.
Okay. Again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for doing the work for the sake of your kids. It makes a difference. And our goal is to make a difference, one family, one child at a time. And I'm so glad that I'm able to be a part of this. I'm glad you're here. Have a wonderful week, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.